So what really...
And we're back.
No.
Well, what are we going to say?
So what really goes on backstage at a Korn show?
Wait. You got to start over because I was like making a weird face. What am I supposed to say?
Well, you can say, so what really go... Vin and Sori have the inside scoop. And then I'll say, let's talk about it, y'all.
Okay.
So what really goes on backstage at a Korn show?
Vin and Sori have the inside scoop.
Let's talk about it, y'all.
I was like, my mom would do something like that.
You do it too fast. Vin and Sori have the inside scoop. Just
Okay.
say, Vin and Sori have the inside scoop.
Okay, go ahead.
So what really goes on backstage at a Korn show?
Vin and Sori have the inside scoop.
Let's talk about it, y'all. Yeah, so when you last left us, ladies and gentlemen, we were on stage with Korn, hanging out, and then the show was over, and then Brian told us to follow him.
Well, I had just gotten done saying that to you, and then I turned around to see like where he was. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like read his body language. If he's like, get out of here.
Right.
And so like I turn around and I'm like, I don't see him, and then all of a sudden he's like standing directly behind you. And what did he say to you?
Yeah.
Hey, or something like that.
I think he was like doing something.
Yeah, he did. Like he was just being silly.
He's like, hey, what's up? And I was like, yeah, whatever, man. What do you want? He's like, yeah, follow me. We gotta talk. We gotta chill.
Yeah.
And so he's following me. The security guard goes, yep, just hang out for a couple minutes, because he had to shower.
Yeah.
He's like, hang out for a couple minutes and we'll come get you. I'm like, yep, no doubt. And Brian's like, nah. He's like, nah, they can come with me. It's just this one time. I know I'm breaking the rules. This is one time.
They can come to my room. I'm like,
I was like, and he's like, oh yeah, my bad. So we go, and he's like, we sit down in his dressing room, and he's like, all right, what do you guys want to drink? We want to drink. What do you want to drink? And so like, Sori wanted water, I wanted a Pepsi. He takes off.
back room.
We're in the dressing room.
Yep.
Talk to the big homie.
He's going to get me some water.
Awesome show, as usual.
Yeah, it was looking good.
Village, one for you guys. Honestly, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
Seriously. So shout out to everybody in the village.
Mm-hmm.
Much love to you guys. Bible Bashers, it's still on. Everything's on schedule.
We're gonna have.
Don't worry about it. Peace out. We gotta go.
I was like, what is happening?
He
Like,
comes back.
You're the. And you have to understand, every single time I do one of these and I go backstage, I always want to bring something. This sounds like super old lady of me, but like I want to cook them a meal because I feel like they've been on the road. They're probably not getting home cooked meals. Like I'm a good cook. Like I could make them a badass meal, but I'm like,
a salami and cheese
yes,
thingamajiggy.
yes, and I'm like, I just wish that I could just bring them like. You know, like,
I know.
Make a pan of lasagna, like my awesome lasagna, and bring that. Like,
I know.
But how do you get that in past security? They're friggin' like Nazis when you're. That's given our. It's like really hard to get anything in there. I'm like.
Yeah.
They probably dig through my lasagna to make sure there was no knife in there or something.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a no bag zone. But as soon as they saw we had photo passes, they were just like, oh, and they didn't even inspect my bag. They were just like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? So, like, it just depends. Like, we ran into one guy who was a problem, but everybody else in the show was pretty accommodating.
When it's, like, a band that we're, like, good with, maybe what we could do is, like, bring it, put it in a cooler, and then tell the band members, like, hey, how do we get this to you?
Yeah. Well, I actually tried to do that with his publicist, but she's handling so many other things. She didn't see the email, but... So we're sitting there, and he just got done rocking for an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as he's done, he's like, what do you guys need?
I know.
What? Like, you know, like, and here's the thing. Sori's like, oh, the rock star thing. That wasn't the thing for me. The thing for me was, I've been around Christians. Like, we've been around, you know, we just got done grinding with a bunch of Christians. And, like, no disrespect, I'm not here to, like, diss Christianity or whatever.
Well,
but
Brian is a Christian, so...
Right. I've been around regular Christians who all they do is take. Like, again, I'm not mad because a lot of it is just, you know, a lot of it is just, you know.
It's not just Christians, but there are Christians, you know.
Right. A lot of it is, most of us are horribly selfish, and we don't even recognize.
Right, but you
how
expect
selfish
something
we are.
different from Christians. You don't expect them to be like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you expect to try, but so for him to be who he is and everything, and it wasn't like I'm gonna be a good. It was just, which I want to. So he comes out and he. So he and I, we all start talking, and we're talking about God and things like that. And I'm not going to talk about like a lot of details of conversation. I didn't record anything.
Yeah.
I was telling Sori, like, there were a couple pics there. He had 3 pics there with his little autographs. I didn't even take that because like I just wanted like to talk to this guy. Like, this is my brother.
Yeah.
I love him. He's showing us love. Like, so I didn't want it to be like anything about getting an interview or talking or even showing what the dressing room looked like or taking any of the pics. Like, I didn't want any of that. Like, we took one picture, but it was because of what we'll talk about later. I just wanted to keep that moment pure as just, I'm going to be my normal self. He's, and try as much. And then, but once we started talking about God, again, you run into a Christian, you start talking about God, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a wrap because it's just, you just can't stop. And there's so many experiences. And then we had so many things in common with him about certain subjects and ideas and we're asking, he's like, well, how do you, this and this, and how do you do that? And yes, Bible Boogie, we did mention you guys and things like that because,
we did.
And he was really like blown away by that. And we were blown away by the stuff that he was saying. And it was just like a crazy, crazy experience. He's like, hey, can you guys stay a little bit longer? Like, do you have to go or whatever? Like, and we're like, nah, man, we're good. So he comes back 5 minutes later with like 5 people, right? It was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. It was 6 people. And it was basically like man-woman pairings, right? And he's like, hey, this is Vin and Sori. Something very, very childlike about him. Like, my heart was just like, I love him so much, like even more now. But he's like, hey, this is Vin and Sori.
He's really chill.
He was, but the thing about it is like, he was just got done for an hour, and the other guy was like uncomfortable because what happened was we were running out of chairs and we were running out of couch space, and Head made the guy sit in the chair, and the guy was like, you just got done working and whatever. And it's like, man, shut up, man. Like the guy and you
finally worked it out so that way he could sit. Though.
Right. You may not know much about the Bible, but there's this thing called like the gift of service or the gift of helps, like where there are some people who are just inclined to serve other people, and like like when I try to serve people, like I got to think about it and all this, but there's some people that are just like that's their instinct, and like that's him. Like he's got this just gift of just mercy and service, and he's so other people oriented. And there were a lot of, I'm not going to share everything that they were talking about, but there are a lot of things that he does for people that he never talks about. Yeah, that would be very good and beneficial for other people to know.
And the only reason why we knew about it then is because those people happened to be there and talking about it. He didn't even bring it up.
Yeah, like there's some things that were like, as a good example, it would be good for other people to know, but he is just so used to doing stuff for people that he doesn't even think to let other people know that he's doing it. Like, he's not trying to be humble, it's just, that's how he is. Yeah. I was just blown away by that. I'm like, I was just like laughing because I'm like, I cannot believe, but at the same time, it's like, he's a Christian. That's what we do, and I've seen you, I've watched you, and there's so many things that you do, behind the scenes that nobody knows about. Like once or twice we'll share it during a Bible boogie or something like that. But there's so much good that you've done that people have no idea about, and people just see like the tip of the iceberg of what an amazing person you are. And Brian is like, he's the same exact way. So it turned out that these 6 people were part of this, not all of them, but part of this group called Granite Recovery Centers, led by this guy named Eric. And it's it's a recovery home, basically rehab / recovery type of thing. And
Yeah.
I was just sitting there like blown away, because you got to understand, we've alluded to it in a couple other things in the ministries we've dealt with, like heroin, fentanyl has been massacring our community.
Yeah.
And it's a you open your Facebook browser and you're seeing RIP, or you go to the local news and a name that you know and a face that you recognize is dead. They're gone.
That one girl, Persephone, was saying, she was like, it's crazy because you go on Facebook and she said you'll see RIP, and then she's like, there was 2 names under it. So it's like there's so many people. So many people dying of it that you don't even make 2 separate posts anymore. It's just like, well, we'll just combine them together, because it's like happening all the time. She said 2 to 5 people a week they bury because of overdoses.
Think about 2 to 5, and you know, he's talking about like moms having to hug moms, and he's like, look, bro, it's feast or famine, right? It's one guy is like on death's door, and then he turns around, starts gaining weight. There was one guy that was there, and he had turned stuff around, and he had kind of wrecked his life, but he didn't give up, he didn't quit, and he
had his 1 year sober coin there.
Oh,
so we
man.
passed that around. We were like, ah.
I said, man, can I please hold on, just hold it for a second.
I know. I was like, because he had given it to Head, and Head was the last one to touch it.
Yeah.
And some people are like, and then you're like, let me hold it. And I was like, no, you're putting your thin fingers all over what was on, but.
I just wanted, because, I'm thinking about, as I'm holding it, I'm thinking about this guy, Nick, that everybody loved around here that died, and other people that died, and I'm holding him like all these people that are in the ground now, but this guy's still here, and he's got that 1 year coin, and it was a very, very emotional moment, because, man, like, it's tough when you love these people and you they're not here anymore, and it's brutal, man. These drug pushers, man, they know that they're poisoning people, and and
you were saying a lot of times it was starting out with just like, you have a toothache and you go to the hospital, and how that can lead, one thing leads to the next, before you know it you in heroin, like.
And one of the things that God kind of showed me, because I really have a hard time with these pushers, is that he's like, look, man, they're addicted to money.
Yeah.
These people addicted to drugs, they're addicted to money, and they're both going to be destroyed by their addiction. So you can't judge those people, but it's tough, And so, like, to see this guy, he's got a kid, I'm pretty sure, because they were kind of alluding to that, and and to see him there, and he gained some weight, because they were both talking about how skinny they were, and they were talking about how they thought they looked good.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the people that I've been working with for years, and he it was weird because we were talking about him, and then we drove past him.
Yeah.
We didn't know it was him until like the last second, because we couldn't recognize the guy, and so. I wasn't expecting those people to come in, and just like listening to their stories and just seeing that one guy, his name's Jay, his name isn't Jay, but I'm not going to say his name on here, but just to see him, and he'd been sober for 8 months, and then he went to check on one of his friends.
Yeah.
And he ended up relapsing, and then he was losing everything, and then he was a year sober, and then he quit construction and everything so that he could work at Granite Recovery Centers, to help other people. So, it was like, and had a relationship with them for like 8 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it was just seeing how he was reaching out to them. I don't know how they got together and found each other, but just to see that level of care, and it's like, oh man, like this dude contributed to saving this guy's life, and now this guy, instead of being selfish and be like, oh, I'm clean now, like he's working on the phones to try to get other people.
Yeah.
And so that was a really cool moment, man. It was really good. But like to lose 2 to 5 people a week.
Oh. Yeah.
And he's talking about hugging these moms. He's like, it's to the point, he's like, look, man, if I don't know the person or whatever, I'm not going anymore. It's too much, and I get it. I could never do that. I've done some pretty, incredible stuff in my life as far as if I had sat down and told people, yo, I was involved in blah, 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 but that's something I would never, ever do. It was hard enough, the little that we were doing here. And, and the thing people don't realize about that type of work, or ministry, whatever you want to call it, it's the most brutal. I cannot think. One of the methodologies of torture, enhanced interrogation, is that they'll torture, they'll beat you down, and then you'll have another guy that's nice to you, so that your defenses get lowered again, so that then when they go after you again, it's fresh. Yeah. And that type of cycle is designed to really break you down mentally. And that is the pattern of that type of work in ministry. Is you got guys who they do really well. Yeah. And the other part of it is when they're doing well is when it's most dangerous, because they're doing so well, everything is going fine, and then they decide that they're going to go to a hotel and just, binge after a while, and they think that they can operate at the level that they would do, and they die. So like you have somebody that's clean.
Well, he was saying it's not even like some of them, they're not even doing the same level as they were doing. They reduce it because they're thinking, well, I can't go to the same level, but they reduce it, but they didn't reduce it enough because their system is not ready for that, and they end up dying. They end up
dead. And so like these are like, so just imagining the up and down roller coaster of
what they do and
what they do. Man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I always tell Sori, like, I know who I am and I know who I'm not, and I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm not, and so I just that Eric guy, man, and I mean the whole crew, but he was just so still passionate about it, not jaded. That's the other thing that's dangerous about work like that, is that it's very, very easy to become a very jaded individual. He wasn't. He was still just as passionate.
I mean, he had his own cool story. Like when he was going on his path to recovery, he went around to all the places that he had like stolen from, and like
300 people,
300 different businesses, to like tell them, hey, I'm here to pay you back. This, that, and the other. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Oh, I was so, and Brian, Brian's there, and he's like completely zoned into what these guys are saying, and we were all just like, man, this is bigger than just one person. Like Brian, amazing, love him obviously, but like when you're a Christian, like you start realizing what you're caught up in, and you start realizing that it's not about you. It's not about you or being a rock star or being a YouTuber. It's about other freaking people, and they're valuable. And man, that Eric guy was a very big impact. And I'm looking around at people, and he said of his whole crew, he's the only one left.
I know.
He's the only one left of his entire crew. They're all dead. And
he's not that old.
He's 34.
Like, he's like our age. So
he's 34 years old, and all of his friends are dead. Like, you're just hitting your prime, and all your friends are dead. Like, this is like, it's crazy. It's a national emergency, and a lot of these guys, they get judged as being junkies and whatever. People in a lot of pain, man. And so he, I'm gonna get through this, but he went and he apologized to everybody. He's telling the story about how one of the guys was an auto shop, and the manager, usually what happens is when he tries to give the money back, there's no line item in a P&L for people coming back and giving back money. So a lot of times these managers will say, well, that's really good, go donate it to somebody else or whatever,
donate it to the animal shelter or something. So
this one time he goes to like Pet Boys or something, and the guy he asked for the manager, and the manager was obviously under the influence, and he goes, look, I robbed from your store, and I need to make restitution, so I got this money. And the guy goes, yeah, sure.
And he put it in his pocket.
He puts it in
I'm
his
sure
pocket.
he found a way to fit that in the piano.
And Brian goes, well, you did your part. and goes, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like awkward, and we didn't know whether to laugh, because,
I laughed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did.
I laughed.
It was just hilarious. But it was, and all these, just like sitting there with these, and then the couple beside us, he is an alcoholic.
Yep.
And he had he got into this giant fight because he's a vegetarian. How real is that? And his buddy told him, "Hey, you're killing plants by eating this lettuce." And this dude was like racking out 30 a day, 30 beers a day, like no bullshit. And so he said, "I don't know what happened, man, but he said that." And he blacked out on his best friend, and like that was his moment, but again, his wife, his wife stuck by him, and she was like, "Yo, you got to make a decision, fam." And he basically cold turkey, right?
That's what he said. He said he did cold turkey because he's like, "What happened?" And then she told him, "We got in a fight with our best friends last night," and he was like,
and he said they've never really been the same after that, which you can just imagine those things, and it's
she
terrible.
said he wasn't like that, so she was surprised to see him act like that. So that was like a.
Well, she was saying it was hard to tell what kind of drunk he was gonna be.
Yes, but she said he never fought. Like that was never, he never did. So she's like, I literally didn't expect that. But then that was like a game changer for him because it was like, whoa, like look how far I went, and that was our best friends. And so then he was like, that's it. Like I'm gonna do this. So it was cool because everybody was having like these stories of like how, they had changed their lives and like they were,
it's different for everyone.
Yep.
Like some people it's like up and down, and you're gonna make it, you're not gonna make it. Some people it's cold turkey. It's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing is like you can't give up. You gotta, no matter what it looks like, you can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you, I'm just so grateful to see people sitting down and enjoying each other and enjoying life, and had asked one of them, "Are you guys together? Are you guys married?" And it was kind of like weird or whatever. But even that moment, I was like, I'm so glad that they're here to have this awkward moment. They could be dead.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people on the ground, man. And I was just so happy that these people were there, and that they were able to share this moment with us. And I felt so like honored to be in the room, and then because sometimes me and Ed would talk about God again, and because you can't help it. And then Ed would say, "Look, do we sound crazy? Or is there any like faith involved in your guys'?" And sure enough, there was faith involved in their program, the 12-step program.
Yeah.
Reach out to the higher power and stuff, and we're talking about meditation. And that Eric guy, man, he was really articulate.
Yeah.
The guy, he knew his shit. Now look, this guy is tatted up. He's a hard dude. Like this dude, like you could tell he could get busy back in the day. You know what I mean? And but like intelligent as hell. Like intelligent, articulate, knew his stuff, full of love for people, love for God, and changing the world, man. And there's this movie. I was thinking like there's this movie with Steve Carell, and his son is involved in drugs and all this, and I can't even watch it because I cannot imagine my son in that situation. Like it's my worst nightmare, and I just think to myself like, thank God, like that the people like this are around, man, because whew. So anyway, so I'm backstage and we're hanging out with Head, and
it was cool too because
he was fascinated by the discussion and really checking up on these people, making sure they were okay.
Yeah, it was cool, like because Vin and I were just like sitting on the couch, and we were just kind of like, I don't know, holding each other's hand and like just kind of like being there together and just like enjoying each other and enjoying the people and enjoying it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like we're hanging out with Brian. It wasn't like that. It was like we were just all people in a room just like talking about, the influences of drugs and alcohol and what it does to a life, but then the the hope that there is, because there is recovery out there. There are stories of people who have overcome it. And, you know, just because somebody is in a really, really, really bad situation that looks completely hopeless, like, it's not. There are places you can go to get help. There are, there is a way out. It's not hopeless.
Yeah.
So, you know, seeing that there are people that genuinely care about your recovery, even though they're not your blood, you know?
Yeah.
They still, you know, they've been there, they've done that, they know how painful it is to go through the withdrawals, and, you know, like, it was just cool, like,
well, he
just
was
to
talking
see
about,
that.
like, knowing what it's like to have your pants frozen because you slept on the street in winter. Like, that level of detail of
Waking up with your frozen pants.
Yeah. Of the life
Yeah.
was mind blowing.
Did I misread that? I thought it was, you remember like how we would have people that were, you know, they were on so much stuff that they'd fall asleep on the street, and then they would,
oh, well, yeah.
you know.
No, well, yeah, it was between that and you spent all your money on drugs, so you're homeless.
Yeah.
You know, it was a combination
So,
of both.
you know,
Yeah.
they
yeah.
have this
So he knew
accident
all of
during the
it,
night, and then the thing freezes up on him. Oh,
and
gosh.
this guy is, you know, and they made it, and he's got a crew, and they got like,
Yeah.
pretty sure he said like 230. They have
230 employees.
284 beds and 230 employees.
Yes, yeah, that's what he said.
And
9 locations or something,
so
I think.
we're all talking, and then Fieldy walks in.
He has interesting hair.
I was just like, you know, it's just back to my high school days, you know, like, you're gonna sit in a room and I'm lounging, and then there's Fieldy, and I'm like, that's Fieldy. And he shows up with this thing, and Head's like, yo, like, I don't think anybody's buying anything, because Fieldy's an artist, like, he's a painter. And he paints these things, and so basically what happened was, like, he sells them because there are like only 10 of them in the world or whatever, and he's like a legit artist. And I'm like, son of a bitch, you're a good bassist. You know, invented this new sound of music. I'm an artist, and you know, I can barely draw. You know, I tried to draw a car, and it looks like a leg or something.
Yes, I'm gonna beat you at Pictionary.
Yeah. So he Fieldy knew his stuff as far as art goes, but like he starts talking about like he's like, you know, and he shows up. Of course, as a Korn fan, I'm like, shit, he's gonna give this away. I want it. But then as he's talking, it became clear, like, and then he said, oh, there's like a pastor or something in here, or whatever. And pastor can mean a lot of different things. A lot of people, like, to me, what this dude is doing is like pastor.
Yeah.
Pastoral work. Anybody can sit behind a desk and lecture people for 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. You don't need, but like what this guy's doing is like the work of a pastor. And so, you know, Fieldy was sharing his heart about losing friend, you know, and it was crazy because the point that he was making was it doesn't matter. Like, you're a big rock star, whatever, with living in a neighborhood with the average, you know, net income of $2 million houses, and then you've got other, you know, it doesn't matter. Everybody is in a, you know, these drugs are killing everybody, and everybody's trying to deal with some sort of emptiness. And obviously, for us, you know, Jesus has come and filled that emptiness for us. But he's talking about all these rock and roll rock stars that he starts naming people that they're dead. He's like, a whole bunch of them are dead. And it's not just rock stars, it's construction workers, it's everybody. These drugs are like murdering everybody. And so it's a big passion for him. And so at the end, he gave this one piece of art out of like 9. It was number 9. And on the knuckle was talked about God's name and then love on it in Hebrew, which was pretty cool. And he gave it to Eric, and then he shot a little promotion.
And there was a verse on the side. It was like from Exodus, and it talked about like something about strength.
Yeah, the Lord your God will fight for you. You need only to be still.
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
And so like he you know,
it's perfect for that recovery place.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, because God's gonna fight for you. He's gonna, you know, and
it was cool too because he was like he was giving it to them, you know, for their establishment, but he was saying like, look, you can hang it up at your place, or you can. You can sell it because you know there's only 10 of them, so
you
can raise money.
so humble too, because like, you know, it's like, I gave this art, how dare you sell it? But he genuinely just wanted to give it as a blessing. Like, he wasn't trying to, you know, he wasn't trying to say like, oh, I made this art. And he's like, Eric's like, nope, I'm gonna put this in a high traffic area. And then he shot a video for them to let them know, we love you guys, you know, keep at it, stay with it.
Oh, here's the video right here.
I'm Fieldy from Korn.
I'm a head
player. Hanging backstage.
Man. So Fieldy has been gracious enough to I guess give me this painting to bring back to Granite Recovery Centers because addiction has been heavy on his heart. God has moved him in a direction that is to be passionate towards recovery and supporting people with the disease of addiction getting better. So we're going to be hanging this back at the facility from these guys. I'm just honored and blessed to get this. Yeah, thank you so much.
And he painted it himself. It's not like he owned it or bought it and then there you go. Keep it clean.
I got to put it on the side. I did 10 characters, and this one is called Base Ism. They're all called isms. And there's only 10 prints of each 10 characters. I did it to donate, to help all you guys that, not if, but when you make it through, because when you make it through, the world will be a better place with all of you.
What number is this?
There's only one left of this one, so you guys.
So this is number 9?
Yeah,
basically?
Number 9.
So what do you want me to sign? What's the name?
Granite.
Spell it for me.
Granite.
G. Hold on, because I get nervous, man. G-R-A-N what?
Granite. Recovery.
I get nervous, man. Can you spell that word too?
R.
I cheated in school.
R-E.
Don't you were
See
you? Hey, in 7th grade, Head and I were in. We had what was it called?
Reading lab.
Reading lab.
We were in reading lab together.
They're like, what'd you read? I go, I don't know. I was thinking about playing guitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
R-E what?
C. O-V-E-R-Y. And the last word, centers. C-E-N-T-E-R-S. That's us.
You're the man.
Is that cool, bro?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Piano?
I appreciate it.
That's so
There it
great.
is, man. You guys will make it. You'll get through it. I'm telling you, I did this for all you guys. I know I believe in all you guys. Never had this, but it takes a man like this, and I'm thankful to have him in a heart
So good.
of someone to do this. So we love you all.
Love. Yeah, thank you so much.
Very nice.
That was great.
You know, and so he shot that video for them, you know, and it's like, that's crazy, man. Like, you know, like, all that was impromptu.
Yes.
Fieldy just walked in because he knew we were chilling there, and it was all impromptu. Like, it was no, like,
Yeah.
you know, and Brian was like, yo, shoot a video. And he's like, yeah. And then boom, they shot the, like, it was crazy. So the night's wrapping up, and like I said, I didn't want to like have a lot of photo ops with Head in the back and you know, whatever, because like I just wanted to be pure. We're hanging out. So the only picture I took backstage in Head's dressing room was with everybody, and you know, it's the thumbnail for this one. It's everybody there, and so that big tatted guy, you know, that's Eric, and he's like the guy that's doing that. If you're a praying person, pray for this guy, because he's I tell you, I'm gonna shine his shoes in the kingdom, man. I promise you. So I, and then you know,
And if you're looking for like, you know, a spot to go for recovery, you can reach out to them. They accept a lot of insurances and stuff. So
yeah, graniterecoverycenters.com, and so I was like, yeah, I want that picture. I want to be in that picture, you know, because you know, I'm pretty certain I'm going to see it again. I'm pretty certain we're probably going to be doing some sort of
something.
yeah. So you know, and that's not like a teaser for anything because we haven't talked about anything. It's just, you know, Christian stuff. But but I didn't know if I'd ever see those guys again, and so I wanted a picture with those guys because those guys, honestly, honest to God, they're celebrities to me, man. They really are. And if you've been affected by the opioid crisis and the fentanyl crisis, like, you know what I'm talking about. How tough it is to lose people. So I wanted to. It's gonna sound weird. I wanted to touch Eric, and I wanted to touch the other guy who fought like mad for his life and made it. And I just wanted to have that moment with him, and I did, and I'm very grateful for it. And so, praying for you, Jay. I love you, man. Stay on it. Seriously, you got my contact. If you need anything from me, literally anything,
let us know.
You specifically, Jay. If you need anything, and we can help. Let us know, and it's there. No questions asked. Nothing. That's real. So
it was funny because when we went to leave, because like Head was like, all right, well, like, you guys can like totally chill, but he's like, I'm gonna take a shower. Yeah. And we were like, no, totally, we're gonna bounce out. Plus we were like, we had left our bag and all of our like media stuff and
back in the thing.
I'm like,
with her best friend.
Yeah, I'm like, he probably locked the door by now, but we were like, we don't need anything that's in there, just like our tripod, but maybe they can mail it to us.
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Well, the other thing was, I said I was talking to Brian. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, he's like, man, he's like, you should have told me. I was like, don't worry about it because we got a hotel, so we're just gonna swing by here. He's like, oh, okay, you guys are good. And I'm like, yeah, man, we're good. Go take a shower. Love you, man. Have a good day. Blah blah blah. And so we're walking down.
Well, before we go out, we're on our way out, and that Jay guy goes. He goes, well, I'm not leaving here without a painting. There was like all these like paintings of like these famous people that were on the wall.
Dave Matthews
Band. He goes, I'm taking this one, and he like fakes like he's gonna rip it off the wall. I was like laughing so hard because, again, anytime that somebody like reminds me of somebody I'm related to, like, I always like it more. So it reminded me of one of my cousins so much. Like, and then he faked he was gonna take. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take one too. You know, we just like faked, and then we, you know, we were laughing, we headed out of there. So we were like, well, just for the heck of it, let's just go see if our bag is there. So this place was like a ghost town. There was like barely nobody there.
It was 1 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're like walking, and I'm like, we gotta go this way, go that way, blah, blah, blah. So we get back to where we were going.
It really was 1 a.m, and their set got done at like 10:45. Or maybe 11. So he hung out with us for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy too.
Brian's ridiculous. He's insane.
So we went back there and
so Sori goes to the bathroom, right? And I'm like, oh. And so
the place was unlocked, so we were able to get in.
We walked in, and there was an office lady still there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know she was there, and I'm like, whoo, it's open. She's like, yeah, you're lucky. I was like, yeah. I look in, and my bag has my keys in it. For the car.
We wouldn't have been able to leave.
We wouldn't have been able to go anywhere.
So we were like, yeah, we'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
Idiot.
Yes, dumb butts. You had the keys in the bag, you idiot.
Like, how did we not think of that?
So,
whatever.
Thank God for you know.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. We would have been screwed, like, royally.
Yeah.
So, shout out to the big homie for that one. But, like, so we're walking out. We're trying to find our way out. Of course, we get lost. And then there's Fieldy and the security guard and the under oath guy were all chilling, and I'm like, yeah, we already talked to them. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to be like some stalker or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, and I'm like, yeah, man. I'm walking away. They're like, yo, come here, and I was like, okay. Like, obviously, I'm very, very happy to go over there. So the security guard was like, hey, man. He was a really good dude. I don't know what his name was. He was like, hey, it's good seeing you. You had fun. Da, da, da. And then I was like, yo, are you from Under Oath? Is a singer from Under Oath? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I was able to tell him, like, that song, Some Will See Forgiveness and Others Escape, like, that's like a very powerful song. And he goes, oh man, thanks, man, that's what it's all about. I'm like, yeah, no doubt. And I go to turn away, and Fieldy was like, wait, what'd you say?
Yeah.
And I quoted a line from the song, and he goes, "Oh, I like to hear that. That's what I like to hear, you know, because it's about God or whatever." Because he doesn't really know that we're Christians or whatever. So he was happy that I was saying that.
Yeah.
I think so. Whatever. So,
Yeah.
and then that was the end of the night, man. Like we walked out, you know, we had our car, and we ordered some Domino's pizza because that was the only place that was open in Mansfield.
Well, we thought that there was like nothing, and then we're on our way back to the hotel, and it's
saw
like a Domino's. Vin's like, "Oh, Domino's!" I'm like, "Yes," because I was so hungry.
Yeah.
And so we ordered that, and
yeah, it was
we
amazing.
watched some wrestling.
UFC. We watched some UFC.
Yeah, it wasn't wrestling.
We rented.
No, it was,
we rented this
I
movie.
always call it wrestling. I don't know why. Yeah, we rented.
The jiu-jitsu. Well, the kids are starting jiu-jitsu now, so
Yeah.
I'll probably put out a couple of videos of that. But we watched some UFC, and we rented a movie, but we never got around to it because we were talking, because we were just rehashing the night. Yeah. I gotta say, like, this was by far my favorite experience.
Oh yeah,
like,
it was really fun.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
Yeah, just the whole thing, and you know, we actually really grew as a couple, you know, on the drive back.
Yeah.
You know, because
that happens to us a lot when we're driving back from shows. There's a lot of good conversation.
Yeah. So that was that the whole experience was great. There are very few times, like when I first started going to rock shows, like I would have this like, oh, I wish I could go back there and be in that moment again. And you know, and then I'd get depressed and I'd get down in the dumps. I get really sad. And then now it's weird because I'm seeing all these bands. I'm right up there with them. I'm, you know, taking pictures with them and all this. And like, you know, you know, it's like fun. It's like, and I never have that feeling like, oh, I wish I could go back there. And it's crazy because this time I'm like, oh man, I wish I was back there right now and having that experience again. But I'm not depressed like I used to be. It's like, I wish I was back there and I'm happy about it. But, you know, I'm not depressed. I'm just very fulfilled and happy. And
that's cool.
Know. So, you know, a lot of that is just growth and God. And a lot of it's you because, like, you're here, you know, like, I didn't leave you there. You know, you're with me. So, but, you know, it's just different. So, thank you very much to the Village, really, at the end of the day. Because, like we said, it went for you guys. We wouldn't be here. You know, we just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Period. So
shout out to the Village.
Shout out to the Village. Shout out to Dan O'Connell, man. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Head. Shout out to Korn. Shout out to the bitch that took my photo pass. And shout out to us. Astaghfirullah. Hey, we're gonna see you in 2 weeks, bruh. Hey, you gotta chill, fam. You gotta chill. He just. You know, if we run into the homeboy again, you gotta pray for him. Your heart's not right. Your heart is not right with that man. No, it's not. I have no problem admitting that. If you see us at a show, say what's up to us. Even if we're having a fight, you know what I mean? Like, hey, come into the drama. Maybe you can referee. Be on my side. No. No. I'm usually right. Side with me. She's usually wrong. And plus she's white. I was gonna say, be my white knight, and then I'm like, no, I don't know. That sounds weird. White woman in distress. White woman, help me. There's a black man. Shout out to the big homie Biden. Anyway, guys, that's all. Thank you so much. Longer review than normal, but we definitely wanted to inform you guys about a really awesome group of people and just a really good experience. And so remember, check out Loud Crazy Love. Loud Crazy Love, and also check out the links below to support or whatever, explore their website. I don't know, the Granite Ministry thingamajiggy, because those guys are awesome. All right, Vin out. Hey, actually, honestly, take care of each other, guys. Okay, love each other, take care of each other. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And the love that you've shown us, show to each other. You know, it doesn't matter what you believe or don't believe. At the end of the day, we can all agree it's all about loving other people, right? So, there's that. Okay, so, Vin out. Sori out. Go.